Hi, good morning, Year 10. This is the first of our virtual lessons on the Cold War. So I'm going to kick it off with the Truman Doctrine and Marshall Plan. Some of you might have already done this lesson, so if you had, this can be a bit of revision for you, but we're trying to get everyone up until the same point. So once you have opened Show My Homework, you should also have opened the lesson that I've attached for you. And I'm just going to talk you through what you need to do on each slide. And it's pretty straightforward, and I think you guys are going to do really well. So the first thing is, obviously, you've got your lesson title. So we're trying to find out what were the Truman Doctrine and the Marshall Plan. You're going to have the same slide that you always are going to be used to seeing from the history department. So I want you guys to grab some paper, grab a pen, or if you prefer to work on a computer, that's fine. Just open up Word and copy down the title. Have a look at the starter, see if you can work out what is going on, and also write down the key terms for me. The key terms are financial aid, so I'm on slide 2 now. Financial aid, containment, the Truman Doctrine, and the Marshall Plan. So at this point, you might want to pause the video and just get all of that written down. All right, moving on then, slide 3. This is really where you're going to be starting to gather your information to try and find out what was the Truman Doctrine and what was the Marshall Plan. So you're going to see on slide 3 that I have put for you a link to a clip. So open up the clip for me, have a watch of that video, and start to get an idea of what these two things are. I would then really quickly skip to slide 4, and it's going to ask you to divide your page into 3 sections. Now, some of you probably have started to catch on that when we're doing Cold War, we're always going to be dividing our notes into 3 sections: context, event, and impact. And I want you guys to do that now. You might want to watch the video again from slide 3. You can also have a read of page 5 of the revision guide. If you have the revision guide. If you don't have the revision guide, it's not a problem whatsoever, because I've also put on slide 3 a link to BBC Bite Size, which I would also recommend that you read through as you're completing your notes. So again, guys, you might want to pause this video now and watch the clips, start filling in your 3 columns, and have a read of the revision guide or have a read of Bite Size. Okay, next thing to do then, now that you have collected in all your information, hopefully you're going to be able to use a little bit of self-assessment to guide yourself through what was actually going on. What was the Truman Doctrine and the Marshall Plan? So really quickly then, just to make sure that you are on the right track, we are talking about President Truman making a big declaration in front of Congress, which is like the American Parliament, and to the world really, that America is prepared to fight communism. He then backs that up with a promise of money, and that is where the Marshall Plan or Marshall Aid comes in. So any country in Europe that was agreeing to fight communism, they would be given money from America. It was about $13 billion over the next 4 years, so quite a substantial amount of money. As you can imagine, our friend Joseph Stalin, the leader of the USSR, was not too pleased. So this is also another step towards the Cold War really ramping up and relations becoming much more strained. Now, there is a lot more detail than what I have just said, but I want you guys to get your detail, please, from the BBC Bite Size information, the revision guide, and the video clip, and move on. I'm going to ask everyone in year 10, please, to do me a piece of homework, and it is one of your 8 markers. We know they are all worth 8 marks, so that doesn't help us explain too much what we need to do. If you have a look at slide 8 of the lesson that I've sent you, you can see that it is an explain the importance of question. And the exact question I want you to answer is, please explain the importance of the Marshall Plan for the development of the Cold War. So I want you to really focus in on the Marshall Plan. You'll be writing 3 paragraphs. If you don't know how to start, please have a look at slide 8. I have put for you a little bit of guidance. Again, if you have the revision guide, you can flick to page 44, and it's got loads of tips on how to answer this explain the importance of question. If you don't have the revision guide, do not panic, because on slide 8 of the lesson, I have put for you a few examples of how you might want to start your paragraphs. You need to really think about, why was the Marshall Plan important? What does it show us? Maybe it is telling us about relations getting worse. Maybe it's showing us America's commitment to stop communism. Maybe it is showing us that Stalin is becoming even frostier towards the West. You get the idea. I think that's the end of